Hi, I'm Sarah Noble, your host for the Modern Day Intuitive Podcast. For over 25 years, I've been on a spiritual journey, searching, learning, expanding, and growing. I've traveled the world, led by my heart, on a quest to know myself so that I can support others. This podcast was created from my deep desire to help you connect with your intuition and to inspire you to create a life where the impossible becomes possible and you live into your sacred dreams and desires. Thanks for being here and enjoy the show. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the show. I have a beautiful reading today with Tammi. And Tammi comes to us concerned about the way she is connecting to people in her business and this desire in her to help people and grow her business. And it takes us on this beautiful journey about hiding from the very thing you came here to do. And in this conversation, we talk about overgiving our energy, how everyone is not going to like you, and that's okay. There will be many people that do. Rewiring your brain by loving the child that lives inside you, not carrying on the wounds of our parents, and how to look at your spiritual journey as expansion rather than that there's something wrong with you that you need to fix. And we also touch a little bit on human design. So before we jump into our call, I do want to remind you that I am currently looking for guests for the show. There's a link in the show notes. If this is you, I would love to support you and help you answer a question or something that you are pondering at the moment. And also a reminder that I have launched Awaken Your Magic. It's a free mini course that is being offered through Alchemy, a school for the soul. And I'm super, super excited to gift this to you as a way to experience yourself more deeply, to connect in with your magic, to have a taste of the Andean medicine wheel and the beautiful creative process that's available to you as a divine creative being. So I look forward to being with you in that container and diving a little deeper. Now, here's my call with Tammi. Enjoy. Hi, Tammi. Welcome to the podcast. How can I help you today?
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me today. I am super, super excited to be here. I wanted to really just dig into what we talked about before, the health issues and how it relates to the business issues as far as, for me, what I identified as the connection piece. So you can talk to that. That'd be awesome.
Sure thing. And just so our listeners know a little bit about what we're talking about, Tammi and I did have a lovely conversation before we pressed record. And it had come forward in her pre-reading that she was having some health issues. And so we touched a little on that. And then in our conversation, we landed a little bit with her business and how she's having trouble connecting with people. And this was partly because of the way she grew up, moving around at a lot of schools. So we're gonna play in that space and see what Spirit has for us today. Does that sound good, Tammi?
Yes. Super excited.
Yeah, and me too. And, when I was checking in with you before, what you were showing me was just this beautiful heart energy, like so much heart energy, where it comes to that place where it's a little too much heart energy of you are over giving is the way that it reads. Like yes. There's so much love that you are sharing. And yet what's happening is that you aren't giving that to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I got this image of you as a fairy godmother going around granting wishes. And and the question though was, well, where are your wishes? What wishes are you granting for yourself? And how are you taking care of yourself? And that was where this health piece came in initially. And the question, what are you not looking at? What are you not seeing? What are you hiding? So I offer that to you to reflect on and let me know where you go with that.
Yep. That is, yes, I got this. I actually got this. This is actually something that I've been diving into because I recognize that was what it was. And I shared with you before we got on the call that Spirit had told me at the end of the year that it was time to go deeper. And at that same time was when I started having problems with my stomach. And so it told me that it really is time for me to share who I know I am and who I've always been, but have hidden it because, you know, part of it probably is my design, because, sometimes it's hard to take. Sometimes I can be hard to take. And I realize that. And so I realize also that I'm being called to help people to really heal. And I mean, not in a surface way, which so many people do and so many people are, but to really dive deep and help people to truly transform their health. And I've been hiding from it, even though I've been in the medical field for 30 years, but I've been hiding from that aspect of it. Honestly, I think it was a judgment that, I was afraid of, fearing, the judgment, because when you come out and you say that you want to help people heal, whoo, the judgment. And so I think that's one of the things, because it's like I can feel Spirit just pulling me and tugging me in that direction, like, you can do this, because I do. I have had that gift since I was a child, and I've known it, but I've been hiding it for these 50 years.
Yeah, well, and what stood out to me when you were talking is that you said you are hard to take.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me a little bit more about that, please.
So I say that because I know that because of how I'm designed, I know that, when people are in my presence, and I've actually known this too forever, but when people are in my presence, it's like they either, I'm like a love-hate thing, or maybe not hate, but I'm either you love me or you don't. There's nothing in the middle. There's no middle ground. And I know that part of that is because being the reflector, I reflect back to you, because reflectors don't have their own energy. All of my centers are clear, uncolored. And so I know that I reflect back to you. And sometimes when I reflect back to people themselves, they don't like what they see. And a lot of times they throw off on me. And I've experienced that in my life, and I didn't realize what it was until once I started, diving into my design. And then I realized, it's not me. It's just what I represent. You know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of why I said that.
Okay. Yeah. And I understand that. I didn't actually know that reflectors had no defined centers. So that's really cool.
Everything
yeah. So the words that I was getting were, you don't know the gem that you are. And I see it as this beautiful green emerald that is in your heart space. And so, yes, your design is helping you understand parts of yourself.
Yes.
So I agree with you. Like, right, people either like us or they don't.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with you. Right. You could have any design, and there are going to be people that love you, and there are going to be people that don't like you.
Right.
That's just
human nature, really.
It's not for everybody. They're not our people.
Right. I'm learning is that, you know what, how you want to help everybody when you start on this journey. You're like, well, I want to help everybody. And that's really how you think. And then once you realize, no, you ain't even here for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not here for everybody. You're not everybody's cup of tea, and everybody's not yours.
Yeah. And I sense for you that there is a space in there where part of you believes that, the grown up part of you knows that and believes that. And then there's the younger, tender part of you that still takes that a little bit personally.
Yeah. And that you are correct. As much as
Mhm.
I try not to, as much as you're like, no, no, I'm not taking that personally. It's almost like the sticks and stones thing that we learned when we were young.
Mm, yeah.
Almost like that. It's like sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt us. You remember that?
Very well. And it's not true.
No, it's not true.
Words hurt way worse than sticks and
Exactly. You're
stones.
like, wait, no, because words can, words create.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's like, you know intellectually or logically that you shouldn't take that personally. You know what I mean? But there's a part of you that does when it does.
What kind of practices and relationship do you have with that little girl that lives inside you?
Hmm. I honestly don't think I mean, I really haven't really I haven't really connected with her in that way. I actually just really started because for me, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I don't remember a lot of it. And so I've been actually at this place where I've been working on that and telling myself that I remember. And then things started coming up. And that's when I started thinking about, the 10 schools in the 12 years,
Yeah.
different things. And I remember highlights from it, but I don't really remember a lot of it, you know? So yeah, that's probably a relationship I need to cultivate.
Yeah. And in my experience, it is a beautiful relationship. And it is one that really moves the needle in healing
Mm.
because she still exists inside you as patterns in your neural net. And it helps when we like really personalize it in the sense like she becomes a little girl, like you have a daughter, and
Mm-hmm.
so you create the environment for her as if she's your daughter. You
Okay, gotcha.
learn to reparent her the way that she wasn't parented,
Oh, okay.
and you get to build that beautiful relationship of trust where she doesn't feel alone, where she doesn't feel that she doesn't have anybody to connect to.
Oh,
So
wow.
all those moves, you get to go into the memories that you can remember and be with her like you would if she was your child.
Yes. And you know that this resonates with me so because I felt like I knew that there was a missing piece to all of this for me, and it's like it's this piece
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, I kept feeling into something because I knew that, because I hear people talk about, their childhood and all this stuff and I was like, you know what? I think I repressed a lot of mine, and I think because, it wasn't that I had a particularly bad childhood or anything like that. It was not that. And I felt the love, it's not that I didn't have love because I actually was a child of divorce myself. And my mother remarried, and the man she remarried is the one that I consider my father
Mm-hmm.
the most. Now, my biological father, I have a relationship with him now, but growing up, I didn't. And so I think that was a piece somewhere in there, is a piece because I had to think about it. I was like, I don't even know when my parents divorced. I was that young and nobody told me.
So what happens right in that place is that we have this big word trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and it's connected to big things is what we sort of class it as, right? Like you had to have some really big thing to happen to
Yeah.
say
Like
that you had trauma.
yes, like something that they would classify as PTSD. Like, your mama died when you were 2, or you were raped, or something, really what we call big, just like you said.
Yes.
But it's the small things that lead up to that, right?
Yes. And so what was so freeing for me was when I learned a definition of trauma that says trauma is aloneness. It exists in the places where something happened, big or small, and you were left to process it alone. There was nobody there guiding you and supporting you and helping you and your nervous system process what was happening for you. And so in that space, your little girl makes it mean something.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, you were just alone.
Yeah, I can see that, because it was like, because, the wild thing is I have like 6 brothers and sisters, right? But 3 of them we share a mother, and 3 of them we share a father. So basically, I'm the only one. And it's funny because my uncle used to share a joke with me, because he was the same way. And he said, you're like me. He said, that's why I have so much love for you. He said, because he said, nobody else in the world has your DNA. And I was like, wow, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that also is the other thing, is like, it makes you feel alone. Wow.
Yeah. So that little girl was just left alone with a lot of really big feelings and big happenings that she considered big, right?
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So going back into memories that you can remember and loving her, calling her to you, like visualize her and call her to you, hug her, love her, snuggle her, fix her, braid her hair, like all the things she would love, and let her talk to you. Ask her, what do you need from me? And then be her mother. It rewires your brain in the most amazing way.
I could see that, because what it really, honestly, what it feels like it would validate her, because that, I think, is what she didn't feel was validated, because nobody told her. I mean, literally, honestly, I went to live with my grandmother, and which I wanted to do. That wasn't even a trauma. I loved my grandmother, and I loved her, and I wanted to live with her anyway. But the thing is nobody told me that, it was the end of my parents. They were young anyway. They were young. My mom was 18, my dad was 17. So they were young, and back in those days, that's the kind of shit that happened most of the time. But, it's like, okay, but nobody ever said anything, nobody talked about it. It was almost like my mom just like erased him out of the picture. That was it.
Mhm.
And I think about it now, I think that was her trauma,
Yeah.
and that was just how she knew to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was like, well, damn, he was here, and then, then
Yeah.
he's not, and, and nobody said anything. Nobody said, he's not here, and whatever, nothing. And so I think that what you said, that was like amazing, because it feels like when you do this with this little girl, it validates her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very confusing for a small child to just suddenly your parents are separated and your father's gone.
Right.
Hugely.
Gone, and then you don't even see him again for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then on top of that, you have this other man that has come, and he shows you love and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, and I don't know. I think about it now as I'm talking to you, and it's like, it feels like it was a hell of a lot. Like it was just a lot for a child, and I could see why I would repress so much, because you just don't want to think about it. And especially when people are kind of telling you by their actions, that was the case, because like, I mean, literally, it's almost like I could see my mom just, because we have pictures, and I could see her just erasing him out of the picture or cutting him out of the picture.
Yeah.
Gosh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it's time for that little girl to hear the story from you.
Hmm.
And so she's not confused. So she doesn't in any way make it about her. And that she knows that she always has you.
Oh, wow. And she's validated.
Yeah, nothing like that is ever going to happen to her again because you're in charge now. You're her parent and you are there. You're nothing like that's happening again. You are always going to explain to her and tell her what she needs to know when she needs to know it.
Wow. So that, in essence, is, to me, it feels like reparenting her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Because your parents did the best they could do, right?
Yeah.
Our parents always do. And as parents, like we know how much we love our kids. And your parents loved you like that too. They
Right.
just were so in their wounding that they made, not great choices.
Yeah. And
Nothing to do with you.
that's what I said about my mom, actually, because we actually healed that relationship like a few years ago. And that was actually a part of my awakening process as well. And we healed that relationship because I realized that, she did what she knew. She was young. She was younger than I was when she gave birth to me. And, and she had, I can imagine she had a lot of feelings and a lot of things going on inside of her. And she felt like she disappointed her parents, because she was pregnant at 18, instead of going to college like she was supposed to, or, like people told her that she was supposed to do at that time. And I realized that she had her own trauma. And even with the divorce, because I'm sure people probably told her that they wouldn't last, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, she had her own issues and things that she was dealing with. And then she had me on top of that, so yeah, it's almost like, I feel like it's like a forgiving process as well. Like I forgave her for, you know, doing what she knew to do and all that stuff and not being who I felt like she should have been to me, and so I feel like almost like I should do a forgiving process for that little girl
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
Like a Ho'oponopono prayer or something.
I love that. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
Yeah. And how can this story of you and what happened be the biggest gift that was ever given to you?
Mm. I'm writing it down because I want to dive into it deeper later. So I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
write that down. I feel like at this moment, I feel like that story is one that propels me into this space because I feel like there's so many people that are probably dealing with the same exact type of stuff, especially in our generation, because, we have to say our generation was a little bit different than, how they're doing things now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean,
No,
just,
I guess.
yeah. I mean, just the fact that, you can do things differently. You know what I mean? Just like what we talked about with the internet and all these, things we could do instead of just, you know, just not. So I feel like that this story is something that I'm supposed to use in order, well, not supposed to, I don't like that word, but something that I can use to not only open me up, but to help my clients, because I really feel like the people that come to us are generally a reflection of us. That's why we have such a problem with, saying what our ideal niche client is and all that stuff, because it's us, maybe at different places on the journey.
Yes, I agree. And I also want to add to that because I think it's important that we are not calling in our clients through our wounding.
Oh, that's good.
Right? Like,
because you want them to be at the higher version to be able to.
And
Yes.
I love to view my clients as the golden Buddha, the version of themselves that is healed, that is actualized, that is their essence of their beautiful soul. That is who I see them as.
Ooh. Yeah, I have
And
to listen to
everything else is just stuff that we talk about. Nobody needs fixing. Nobody's broken. Nobody's got problems other than the ones we create for ourselves. it's just a deepening and an opening.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You know why? Because just like you said, because that kind of opened something up to me because we all do these programs and these coaching things and all that stuff, trying to, get better and learn whatever. And so I know that some of them, especially the ones that aren't spiritually centered, they tell you call in, your patients.
That's that medical background.
It is. Your client through, your pain points.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And I didn't like it either. And I've been struggling with that because that to me is just like you said, is like, I mean, you don't want to call them in on the ground. You know what I mean? Because that to me, that's when you're dealing with the pain points, that's where you are. It's like do we want them there? No. And that never resonated with me. And I was like, I don't like that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, there's no need to do that.
Right.
We're here and I look at it as in the sense of expansion, right? Like I don't sign up for programs and work with my coach and my spiritual mentor because there's something wrong with me.
Right.
It's because I want to expand on the wholeness that I already am.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That is absolutely the truth. And it's funny that you said that because to me, that's kind of the place that I've been in this year where, I did, because, we all do this. We all work with different people on a lot of different folks. We work with coaches, work with healers, we join programs, we do courses and all this stuff. And so that's kind of where I've been as well, is working, with people that will help me expand and grow, and get to a place, that I know that I'm there.
Let me play with that as well with you.
Yes.
My version of being there means I'm dead and I'm done in this life. I got there. Now it's next body or next planet or next universe, wherever I'm going next. But for me, the human experience is not about getting anywhere. It's just about the journey. It's about the moment to moment, the expansion, the connection, the aliveness that I let into my life. Most people are walking around like half dead.
Yeah.
Like I want to be fully alive. In the Andean traditions, one of the parts of the medicine wheel that we work on is all about stalking death, because the shaman knows that if he keeps death close, it makes him more alive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it's about living fully in the life you have, not about getting anywhere, is my experience, my sort of what I hold to be true for me.
I like that.
Because getting there, again, it buys into that story that there's something wrong with you. You're not there. Something's wrong.
And that's amazing that you say that, just because I had started following Dr. Kim Duramo in Mind Body Medicine, right? And that was one of the things that she said. She said, part of the thing in healing is that You come to this place where you realize that you want to stop resisting and you want to allow and you want to not look at your body as if, what's wrong with me and what do I have to fix?
Mm-hmm.
And that,
Wise words.
yes, it was amazing. I mean, when I heard, I was like, wow, yeah, she's right. And so I started actually doing the process. I was like, you know what? You're right. Not what do I need to fix? Because, what happens when we start feeling things in our body, we're like, okay, well, what is wrong? Especially once we start getting around that 50 age. Like,
Yeah, well, the mind needs something to do, right?
yeah,
It's all day long creating thoughts and chaos. And it's like,
yes.
oh, I don't have a problem right now. I got to make up a problem because I need something to do. Let
Like,
me
I'm
go find
good.
one. Let me go make one up.
I can just make it up because you know what? If I just make it hard,
Mm-hmm. And we get caught in that, right? And then we believe that that's true and that's who we are. And oh my gosh, something's wrong with me.
right.
Help.
And even with diseases, she said, like conditions, she said, she said, you're not your cancer or your fibromyalgia or your whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She goes, no. She goes, you can allow that and just allow it to just pass through you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to stop and you don't have to embrace it. And I was
The
like,
I am statement is so powerful.
yes.
Like we always want to use it, or like I have those statements that quantify us and qualify us. We want to be very, very careful with what we're putting after I am and I have, because we're speaking something into reality when
Existence.
we do that. So
Because we're
yeah.
creating with our words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're right. When we learn that and we realize that, and then we start to actually practice it and really put that guard. And I actually shared with my sister, I said, you can reframe something that you say. Just reframe it immediately.
Yep.
If you said it and you messed up, then just flip it. Just flip it. I said it works. You can do that. And that's one of the things that I started doing. I was like, I'm just going to consider my words because a lot of times, we just say these things and we don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just on the unconscious autopilot of language.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and as soon as they tell you, oh, we're going to diagnose you with this, and it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes me think of the wave and the particle, where the wave is just all a possibility and the particle comes into form once consciousness witnesses it.
Yes.
So when you diagnose something, you're confirming, you're creating a pattern of energy that comes together. So prior to a diagnosis, everything is possible. Yes. Every version of healing is available. But once you speak something into reality, and you put consciousness on it and say, this is, cancer or whatever it is, you're creating that.
Right. Exactly. You are so right. And that it really opens up a lot of possibilities,
I love living in the world of possibilities. That's my favorite place.
I think it's amazing. I'm telling you, I've been just not being there, but as I started receiving that, and started realizing that, what if, what if, what if, what if we just believed, and what if we just, decided that, we're going to live out our life out loud? What if we just believed in our dreams, the things that we see? What if?
And I love that word decided, because that is how you create. By every little decision you make all day long makes your world.
Yes. Yes. Love it.
What medicine are you taking away from this conversation?
Definitely to connect with that beautiful little Tammi. Definitely to connect with her, because she realized that she basically felt like she grew up at 9. you know,
Yeah.
like she was already grown because she was doing so many things. And so many people had so many expectations of her.
I get
Yeah.
the sense she wants to have a little fun.
Oh, yeah. That's what she
Yeah.
wants.
Yeah. Like if she had to grow up so early, she's like, can we go have a little fun, please? Stop
Yep.
being so serious and all concerned with these things. Let's just go play hopscotch.
And you're right about that. It's funny because some of the things that I enjoy, like I like to make jewelry. I love to do it because it just gives me that space to create and just to have fun, which I never really felt like I had. And I think a part of the reason why I love to write also is that because I always used to like to read when I was a child, and I also used to write too. But I mean, I always had a book in my hand. My mom used to fuss at me sometimes. She's like, put that book down. I need you to do such and such a thing. But I always had a book, and I always would go places, and I always like to read books where, you travel to different places and even different galaxies and stuff like that. So, yeah, I truly believe that, this conversation has helped me to really know that I need to definitely have that relationship with that beautiful little girl and to make sure that she knows that she is safe. Because I think that that's a part of what I've gone through with that is, you know, to know that I'm safe because I felt like, I grew up so young. I felt like I raised my mom's kids and then I had my own and raised them. And it's almost like people that say, like one of the things when I got ready to get married, and I know this is off the subject, but I said in my prayer and what I asked for was, I need a man that already has kids that are grown because I don't want to raise anymore. That was
That's a
my
big
prayer.
responsibility, raising
Yeah.
kiddos.
I was like, no,
Yeah.
I've already done it. I mean, I raised my mama's kids, I raised my kids and some other people's kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you probably have a special gift for kids if they're always finding you.
No. I mean, they're like everywhere me and my husband have gone, we always connect with like younger people, like the ones in their 20s and stuff. And
that's what I'm saying. You have a gift to share with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of wisdom,
Mm-hmm. And I did just want to offer you one last thing.
Yes.
When you were talking about your little girl and letting her know she's safe.
Yes.
What I have found that's even more potent is letting her know she's loved.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because
yes.
safety, I know a lot of us search for safety inside. It's a thing that when we do have a trauma response or we've had trauma, that safety feels like the thing that is going to set us free or is going to make everything okay. And in my experience, my loving of myself is much more potent than trying to keep myself safe. Because in love is safety.
That's what I was going to say. We're on the same plane. I was like, yes, because love is safety.
Yeah. So it's a way more potent medicine to just offer yourself love and let the safety piece take care of itself. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Does this feel like an okay place to land today, my love?
Oh, yes. That is amazing. It just feels so good. It feels like that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my God, this has been, whew, I can't wait to listen to it again.
Thank you, love. Thank you for being here today and making your personal and spiritual growth a priority in your life. To learn more about connecting with your dreams and your intuition so that you can create a life full of possibilities, visit me at www.sarahnoble.com and see how we can create magic together. A big thank you from my heart to yours for making the planet a better place for us all.